Hello, church members and friends of Woodmont United Methodist Church. I am Jonathan Brake, lead pastor here, and I wanted to give you an update on where we currently stand on all things church related and pandemic related. And so I just want to start out by saying that I, like you, am simply tired of this whole COVID situation. What we thought would be fairly short lived earlier in the year, or at least let up in the summer, never really came to happen, and we're still continuing to live with the reality that we wear a mask everywhere we go outside of our house, trying to keep my distance from everyone that I can in a world that was always full of handshakes and patting people on the back and high fives and hugs with loved ones and things like that, and to have to lose all of that at the same time of finding that my personal plans, as well as church plans and life plans, are constantly changing, all leads to being, I guess, what you call mentally fatigued. You know what I'm talking about. Whereas life, in many ways, was just on autopilot for a lot of what we do, now it seems like I have to think through the steps of everything that has to take place throughout my day and week, and where I'm going and what's going to happen when I get there, and how do I prepare myself to be as safe as possible and to not take chances with other people. And it's just everything ongoing. I'm tired of COVID-19. I'm tired of the ways in which we're unable to connect with people as we had in the past. I'm tired of trying to always use technology, as available as it is and as thankful as I am for it. How we just yearn for being connected with one another. And church life has been absolutely, totally disrupted by this pandemic. I know how frustrated you are that so many aspects of church life as we have known it before are just not possible in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. I mean, the fact of the matter is that church is relational. It's about us coming together with one another in ways that we no longer do in our neighborhoods, probably not on the job, in other places where we gathered together. I mean, think about the ways in which we touch one another and connect directly with each other, whether it's passing the peace or passing an offering plate, singing together in celebration and in worship, whether it's sitting with our friends on a weekly basis that we wouldn't see outside of church on Sundays. And my goodness, here at Woodmont, we love our meals together, where it's impossible to do so without a mask. And so I think of how many metaphors we have of breaking bread with one another have to do with the gathering together and the connecting of relationships. And so the mourning of those kind of losses right now in this time of our life is weighing down on so many of us. And I'm not alone in feeling that. I never dreamed that I'll be having to make the kind of decisions we've made throughout this year in 2020, the kind of leadership that has been required. It was never some class in seminary. There's not a leadership book on my shelf here in my office that has to do with how to make the decisions that we've made this year for your benefit, for the good of the community, for the good of the gospel. And yet, for a lot of people, church is where we want to go, and we have always gone to reconnect and to feel a sense of rest and love of others. I think back to after the terrorist attacks of 9/11, when the churches were filled to overflowing because people needed somewhere to go to connect with other people when the whole world seemed to be falling apart. And here we are in this pandemic where the world literally is in many ways falling apart. And the place of comfort, the place of solace, the place to enter into literal and figurative sanctuary is not a place that is safe for us at this time. Think of all the things we do as a church. Almost all of those rank high on the risk levels of what not to do during a pandemic. And so every step along the way, your church staff and the leadership here in the church have been doing the best we can to make the most of a horrible situation. We have recreated so much of church life that we could possibly recreate. All the ways we could carry things out online using technology like this to communicate with you and to hear back from you. The things that we've created and offered for you to take into your home and to connect with the church in your own safe space as much as possible. The ability to get together in small groups, very tiny groups at times, below 10 people maximum and such, whether that's online or in person. We've tried to make that as possible as we could. And every decision has been with you in mind. It's been with the input of local healthcare providers. It's been with the input of those who are studying and understanding what we're faced with. It's been with the input of United Methodist leaders and other solid information that we could find along the way. And back in the spring, when all of this unleashed on our nation and our world, we never anticipated that we would still be in this situation this long. And nowhere near do we think it would get as bad as it is today. So, what do we do now? Today is December the 3rd, 1 week after Thanksgiving. And last Sunday, we had to cancel our in-person worship because our church council agreed that we would not meet in person anytime the COVID test rate, positive test rate here in Rockingham County reached 10% or above. Well, now we've been above 10% for an entire week. And we've been warned that the effects of the Thanksgiving travel, the Thanksgiving connection of people outside of their main bubble of family and close acquaintances was going to cause an elevation in the test rates. And what we've discovered is that we are now 1 week later and just at the beginning of starting to see what is the fallout, what are the repercussions of the people who did in fact get together during the Thanksgiving season, and how is that spreading in our community. All healthcare providers are bracing for another surge within a surge, as they often call it right now. And I'm sure you're aware that the state of North Carolina has seen an almost daily record breaking of both infections and hospitalizations throughout November and now even into December. Today has ranked again as a record breaker of those who are infected in the last 24 hours have shown up positive. The hospitalizations are continuing to go up. And this morning I talked with a contact I have at Annie Penn Hospital, and I said, just tell me, what are we faced with? What is Cone Health trying to deal with? What are they understanding? What are they looking forward to? What are they preparing for? And what I learned is that a few weeks ago, Cone Health anticipated that by mid to late December, by Christmas time, around 150 people would be in their hospital system for COVID positive purposes, hospitalized because of COVID. Today, they reported 161, above what they thought their capacity was going to be. 30 of those 161 are in the ICU. Right now, they're projecting that by the end of the year, they're expecting maybe as many as 250 in the Cone Health system there because of COVID-19. I learned that the Green Valley Hospital, which was formerly the Women's Hospital in Greensboro, back in the spring, it was completely re-outfitted to handle COVID cases, and all the other hospitals were sending their COVID patients to Green Valley. Well, it's almost full now. And so what that means is that COVID patients no longer will have place to go there, and they're going to start backing up into the other hospitals, including our own here in Reidsville at Annie Penn. They're even preparing for that reality and putting some rooms in a position where they can be isolated more from the rest of the hospital to be able to serve those in our community who are COVID-19 positive and we don't have another place to send them. And so hospitals are doing things like putting in stricter, tighter restrictions within their hospital place themselves. They're trying to protect their staff. They're trying to help make it that they'll have enough people there to help us if we end up needing to go to the hospital for whatever that purpose or reason may be, COVID or unrelated to the virus. Now, I don't tell you that today to scare you. That's not my goal at all. I tell you to inform you, to let you know the reality that affects and impacts the work of our church and the way we carry out being a faith community within the wider community here in Reidsville. I tell you because we're living in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, and everything and all signals are showing us that the worst is still just ahead of us. Yeah, the vaccine news, it's been great. It's been wonderful. We're so looking forward to that. But the truth is, the vaccine is not going to change things overnight. And it's going to be well into next year before there's enough vaccine available and enough individuals inoculated to where we can begin to live a little bit differently without as many precautions as we have now. And so in the meantime, we've got to be diligent. We've got to remain strong in our efforts to reduce this virus spread, even as mentally and emotionally and relationally and physically, we just feel so worn down and we're so sick and tired of what we've been having to live through over these last 10 months. So I want to let you know what are the steps we're taking here at Woodmont United Methodist Church to be a part of the solution, to be a part of partnering with Cone Health and others in Reidsville and the vicinity. As you know, we are the location of the Annie Penn Cone Hospital Child Development Center right here on our own campus. And so we are supporting the families of those frontline workers who work in our hospital here in town. And we partner with them in many ways. So the level of COVID infection that our county is seeing right now has a high impact on our hospital. And it's going to have an even greater impact in the next few weeks. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services has set up the COVID-19 county alert system that our governor introduced a few weeks ago. And that system places us in the red tier, the highest, called critical community spread, when we get above 10% positive test rate. And so the precautions that were given to be in either the orange tier above 8%, the red tier above 10%, are these type of things: to limit mixing between households and to minimize the number of people in your social circle. So to limit mixing between households, and that is what happens when we come together as a church, is we bring various households together intentionally to mix with each other. It's one of the reasons that being the church as we have traditionally been it is so difficult in these days. We're to avoid settings where people congregate. It's interesting that that's the very word that we use to talk about who we are. A congregation is based on the word congregate. So we've been asked to avoid places where people congregate. If you go to restaurants, we're encouraged more and more now to consider getting takeout and not sitting down indoors where we might be near someone else who can spread the virus, or we could spread it to them unknowingly. We've been asked to reduce our public interactions to mainly essential activities, things like going to work or school, caring for family members, buying food, getting health care, or picking up medications, and try to restrict all other contact in the community because of how dire our situation is. They're asking that all businesses and organizations strongly encourage implementation of telenetworking to the greatest extent possible, and to do no non-essential travel. And community and religious organizations should avoid any in-person indoor meetings, events, worship services, or other gatherings above the indoor mass gathering limits, which North Carolina has set at 10 is the official mass gathering limit. So in response to this reality, our church council passed a motion to hold back on in-person worship whenever the positive rate puts us in that red tier above 10% positive tests, as it has been this last week. And because the numbers here in our county have remained above that threshold, and they're projected to stay elevated, especially for the next couple of weeks, as we see the fallout of the Thanksgiving festivities, which, everyone expects will follow the pattern we saw of Memorial Day and July 4th and Labor Day and those times when people did mix with others outside of their bubble. We're not able to hold worship this coming Sunday on December 6th, and we anticipate the same thing will be true on December the 13th. I've instructed our staff that beginning next week, we're going to adjust our schedules in such a way that the church office will be open on Mondays and Wednesdays. And because we did such a good job earlier in the spring of setting things up so that we can do telecommuting and working from home as much as possible, we will be available to you throughout the week by phone or email or however you need to contact us, but we will not always be on the premises as we want to be a part of the solution. So Mondays and Wednesdays, we will have the office open here. If you need to do interactions with someone here in the office, please call ahead and make sure that we are going to be on the premises at the time in which you need to stop by and we can assist you. But we are still available. So let me just let you know, we may not be here in the office, but we are still available to you when you reach out and contact us. As we said all along, building access may be restricted to group gatherings, and our gatherings may be online for now. But the church is a people. The church is not the building, and the church itself is not closed. There's been a lot going on this year, a lot of activities, a lot of involvement, a lot of mission and ministry. We're still carrying out the work of the church, even if we're not gathering together as we have been accustomed to in years past. But I want to let you know that we've been working hard to give you opportunities to connect, to still be involved in the life of the church, to lift your spiritual life, to grow in your faith, no matter what we're faced with. And that is the essence of what church is all about. And so let me give you a few ways here before I conclude about ways that you can be involved in the life of the church. We're now in the season of Advent. And our theme for this season is what to expect when you're expecting Jesus. What to expect when you're expecting Jesus. Online worship is still every Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. It's a chance for you to connect with others through the chat box feature that is there either on our Facebook Live or on our YouTube channel, and you can interact with others there. You get a chance to hear music that's been prepared by our very own musicians, and they are sharing their gift and their heart and their love with our congregation and with those beyond this church who are able to tune in and enjoy and be a part of it. We're showing you sights of the season from our various campus locations where they are decorated and prepared and made ready for the season. And we're creating some little specials for this Advent and Christmas season that are incorporated into our online worship that I know you'll find as a blessing, whether it's interviews with individuals whom you know or other things that are creative and help you to move your mind and heart out of the usual flow of things in worship. Spoiler alert, this Sunday you want to tune in because I had to clean my shoes for quite a bit after filming this Sunday's music video. I'll leave it at that and let you tune in at 10 o'clock on Sunday and find out what that's all about. Also, we put together some Advent worship bags and handed those out on our stewardship celebration drive-through a couple of weeks ago. But if you still need one, let us know. Contact the church office because we still have plenty of those that we can get to you with some items and things that can help you to celebrate your Advent and Christmas season in conjunction with what's going on in our online worship and other means of the season. If you've not yet discovered it, on our Facebook page is our daily Advent readings and Christmas descriptions. So every day during the season of Advent, we are sharing with you a short piece of scripture and letting you know what's behind those designs that are on the Christmas tree. And so this is all incorporated together in what was in those worship bags to encourage you to worship from home and stay engaged in that each day during Advent. That's on our Facebook page. You can go there and make sure that you have liked our Facebook page so you'll get notifications. And you'll see each day another opportunity for these short, informative, inspirational messages and then share those with your friend group. Let others know what Woodmont is offering, not just to our own, but to those in the community as well. Another opportunity for us is going to be on Sunday afternoon, December 13th, Sunday after this coming. From 1 to 2 p.m., we're going to have a drive-through baby shower. Remember, our theme is what to expect when you're expecting. And if we're expecting Jesus, well, Jesus has called us to do for the least of these. And when we have done it for him. So what better way than to celebrate with a drive-through baby shower for Jesus? And the way that's going to work is on our Woodmont campus, we invite you to bring items that can be given to families who maybe have experienced a brand new child, or at any age and stage of life, how we can give to Jesus by giving to the least of these. And so we're asking you to bring a non-perishable food item or several that can go into the blessing box. You can bring a financial donation, and that will go toward our sponsorship this year of a Salvation Army kettle. You may have heard that it's hard to find places where they're able to set up. And so we are sponsoring one of the kettles ourselves as a church. We invite you to bring hats and scarves and gloves and socks and blankets and those kind of things for any size person that you can drop off here as well that day as a gift for Jesus. And while you're stopping by, if you still have not dropped off your 2021 Stewardship Pledge card, go ahead and bring that as well. You can drop that off on December 13th between 1 and 2 p.m. also. And here's another neat opportunity for you. If you want to get out and make a connection and brighten the day and the life of the season for someone who is one of our homebound or other members of our community, we're going to be offering on the same day, December 13th, that Sunday afternoon, if you'll arrive by 2:15 with your car all decked out and beautified for Christmas. We're putting together a parade, and this Woodmont Christmas Caravan Parade is going to go from house to house on a route that we're putting together through the community. We want to spread Christmas cheer around Reidsville to our loved ones and others. And we hope that you'll be a part of that. We didn't get a chance to decorate all of our cars for trunk or treat, and we thought, well, here's a chance. Our choir doesn't have the opportunity to go out and sing and carol this year because singing is something that is one of the worst things we can do. But here's another opportunity. So let's be creative and let's be loving and let's have fun with that. December 13th in the afternoon after the drive-in baby shower at 2:15, we're going to do meet in the parking lot here at the church and go out on the Woodmont Christmas Caravan. And then finally, one other thing we're doing special for you is that our music ministry has been preparing a Christmas Eve special. There's all kinds of Christmas Eve specials that you can tune into on television, but we want to offer a Christmas Eve special that is special to you directly from your people and those you know and the voices you love here at Woodmont United Methodist Church. So on Christmas Eve, December 24th, right around 4 o'clock p.m., we're planning to make available to you music of the season, different styles of solos and group singing and things that Beverly has pulled together online over Zoom and different ways to make it possible that we might offer to you something special on Christmas Eve. You can watch it live as it goes live at 4 o'clock, or any other time you want to tune in and use that as a part of your family celebration, either on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day. That'll be available for you. So you see, we got big challenges in front of us. We've got ways to care for one another and those around us and to be a part of the solution, but we aren't stopped completely from all the creative ways that we can still be the church and we can still love one another and we can still spread Christmas cheer. So I invite you to take advantage of all these opportunities, not to focus on what we're missing out on this year, but to take advantage of what we can do and what we can make possible in this season. When we consider, expecting Jesus, and what does it mean for us to expect him into our heart, into our lives, into our world, even in the midst of this pandemic. We love you. Merry Christmas, and I hope to see you online or in some other way in the days ahead. And we just pray that together we will get through this and we will discover new and creative and wonderful ways to be God's people no matter what.